I am scared of Willard. It's okay to acknowledge things. I'm scared of Willard.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
All right, let's welcome in Willard and Dibs. Yeah. It's the crossover sponsored by Atco. So listen to this for a sec. I went on Baseball Reference, and they said that the Giants, where they're at now, and Willard's got a different number, 13%. But let's just use Baseball Reference. The Giants have a 10% chance of making the playoffs. So I was thinking about it. Okay, so let me get this straight. 40% of the teams in baseball make the playoffs. And the Giants have a 10% chance of being one of the top 12 teams in baseball. Oh, my gosh.
Kind of depressing when you put it that way.
But hold on, let's put it right on the table. Brought to you by Atco. When you left here before Hawaii, you kind of told me in Dibs, the math's there, but you didn't feel... What have you seen now with this rotation? I don't care who they're playing. It's 4.5. Steiny, 9 games since Steiny and you left, and they've gained 1 game. And they were 7-2 in those 9.
I mean, and Fangraphs has them at 13.2%.
Much better.
There's very exciting development. Now they got some good starting pitchers, but like this also, they're now, first of all, until you're over 500, I'm not taking you seriously.
Another chance tonight.
I don't care
get to
what the math says until the number in the left column is bigger than the number in the right column. Until then, and Bomel has echoed that too, so good on him. So you got another chance tonight. You got 4 games in Washington. If you win 3 of them, you're an over 500 team, and we'll have a conversation going into the homestand.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about last week, is just win series. And you went to Cincinnati, the Great American Small Park, and you won the series. Yeah. And now you go to Washington, and you win the series. You come home against Detroit. That is mostly a white flag waving team.
No, they got young
you
players.
You win that series.
Hungry young players.
Shout out Ryan Kreidler. Son of
is he?
I think he's back up. Yeah, he's been back and forth, but he's had a few at-bats. Mark Kreidler, former morning show host, my guy, his son Ryan has kind of been in that 3A, 4A. Nice. He got hurt. He was a big leaguer, and then he went back down, so he's kind of been in that tweener spot. So I definitely follow Ryan Kreidler a little bit, just, pulling for the kid.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, he's been a major league player, and he's kind of in that spot where it's, yes or no, and if he gets healthy down the stretch, he'll get the call up. And so, but Detroit's a series that you should win. So you win series, 2 of 3, 3 of 4,
got
2
the
of 3.
A's again.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you win 7 of the next 9, and you cut it to 3.5.
That is
seriously. Hey, by the way, and this is not. Do you remember Julie and John Marvel? Julie Marvel was a PR director of the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the day. And John worked as a columnist for the Koch Times.
Yes.
They have a son who played pitches for the Pirates, or at least had a cup of coffee with the Pirates.
Wow.
Last name Marvel. Yeah, so there you go.
It's great.
Some local ties.
Yeah.
Local ties.
Local ties.
Are you getting traded?
Am I getting traded?
No, Aiyuk.
I thought he said, are you getting traded? I'm like, I didn't know we could do that.
We shopped him at the deadline, but there were no takers.
Wow.
You guys
they weren't sure he was going to report.
Well, first of all, the guy who is reporting the Steelers thing, Andrew Filipponi, I don't know if you guys have been
morning show. We've been bringing him up.
He's coming on with us. He's going to come on this afternoon. Andrew is reporting
because he wants it. He wants it.
I know he wants it. I know. That's kind of what it, because I know Andrew a little bit. Okay. I texted him. I'm like, dude, do you think this is close? He's like, it's very close. And I'm like, I think the Steelers want it to be close. It could happen. It's the first time that I've acknowledged that it's a maybe. I still would firmly bet against it.
Because it would have already happened, right?
I don't think the Niners actually want to trade Aiyuk. I think the reason reporters are suddenly getting the vibe that they want to trade Aiyuk is because the Niners are trying to get a message to Brandon Aiyuk, which is, we're not budging. We're not budging, and we're also not going to let you become a distraction. So you have a choice now. If you really want, and I listen to you guys, I still think there's 0 chance that he doesn't play if he got to the regular season. There's nothing in that for him. All he does is lose millions of dollars. Yeah. Nothing good happens. He's already showed his hand by showing up to camp. The dollars matter to him. That's why he's here. So I don't think that's a risk, and I think the Niners know that, and they're telling him, we're not going to meet your demands. And if you want to just sit there in sweats for the entire camp and put this season in doubt, then we will listen. If you'd like to go play with a worse quarterback and a worse offense and go try to learn a new offense in 3 weeks and go get 812 yards for somebody, if you want to do that, my man, you can do that. We'll put that on the table for you. Do you really want to do that for $2 million a year?
Man.
I think that's what's happening. And I don't think Brandon has any interest in leaving. He's been playing every single card as, like I just said to Dibs in the other room, I go, he feels like a dog outside like looking for a doggy door. Like he's poking on every little spot to see if he can find leverage. And he's not finding any, and he knows that's why he's here at camp. He doesn't want to go play somewhere else.
Yeah, and I don't want him to, but when he was on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark, and the last question, Dibs, of the whole podcast was, what uniform would you be wearing? And he goes, a Niner. I'm like, why did I spend 30 minutes watching this? Even if you felt that way, give me Washington. But the fact that you said it, I'm like, you want to be here. No shame in that. But what about the Cam Marino NFL Buzz report at NFL? But Cam Marino reported out of Cleveland.
Brother.
It is?
No, that's a 4.
I don't know.
That's
that the Niners can make a trade and get Amari Cooper and possibly a 2025 second-round pick for next year. If the Niners...
That's going to be a no from me, dog, on Amari Cooper.
But the Niners would... He did the same damn near production as Aiyuk, and he's got 1 year left on his deal. If I'm the Niners...
Right, but production. But we're talking about a football player, and you're talking about Amari Cooper, who is 5'10 and a half and a $163.
I was about to say.
6'1".
Yeah.
Okay.
6'1". Amari's not small.
Not known for blocking.
But he's not going to be asking for 30 M's that you don't got to pay him. You can let him go. I'm thinking if the Niners are really irritated by this, he could duplicate what I love Aiyuk.
Yeah, I don't think that he can duplicate what Aiyuk does.
This would be the easiest football he's ever played with Kyle.
Easy football in like run,
he
catch,
can run
but
routes.
not easy
phenomenal.
football when it comes to like, all right, Amari, get in there and do the dirty work. I don't know if he's going to be able to block in this offense, and is Amari going to be happy with 81 targets over the course of a year?
And you got a system to pick up. Receivers have said,
well, that's the big part.
That's why I have a hard time believing this. I understood what you guys were saying. Like, yeah, we've reached a point now.
Time is running out.
It can't just be, if you're going to do a deal, it can't just be draft picks. Because the Niners have a Super Bowl to try to go win.
Hello.
So they're not going to just hand that position over to somebody. So now you would have to compensate him with a player. Amari is interesting, but I would still have questions. Like, we got a game in 4 weeks. You're going to come in and pick up a new offensive system and play all that correct and chemistry with Brock Purdy. I know in fantasy we're like, oh, Amari Cooper. But, like, I don't know if that's transferable in 4 weeks. So I'd have concerns there. But it's a better idea than the Patriots or the Steelers.
Yeah.
I don't know who the hell they'd get from either of those teams.
And that's why I can't wait to hear Andrew.
Yeah. 5-15.
That'll be good. That'll be real good. The thing with Aiyuk is... like, what I'm trying to do is allow for the possibility that we don't know what we assume. And what if the Niners aren't convinced that Brandon Aiyuk will be playing for them game 1 at $14 million?
What's the scenario?
Well, hold on. He could theoretically miss 6 games or 6 or 7 games, then come back.
You have to play half the season, so he could miss 8.
Okay, so he misses 8 games, and then comes in for week 9, and still gets his year tenure. Right,
cost himself
$7 million.
$7 million.
I know. I hear you.
Wow,
but. If the 49ers really have doubt or have any doubt about that, then they have to think, well, will him missing 8 games mess our season up?
Can I?
Yes.
I want to shout out Hawaiian Airlines, and I'll tell you why. Hawaiian Airlines, like, you just walk on the plane and everybody's just got Wi-Fi. Just open up your laptop.
Are you kidding me?
Turn on Netflix. Nobody's got to pay $1. Nobody's got to do anything. You don't have to do flips, hoops, nothing. Sit down, open up your computer, and go. So I finished the receiver doc. Have you all finished it?
Yes.
I haven't, no.
If you've finished it, I felt, and I know he was one of the profiled guys, so maybe this is bias. I felt it was jammed down our throat, the importance of Deebo Samuel. The idea that Kyle Shanahan would buy into what we all sort of bought a couple months ago,
that
which
he
is
could
sign Aiyuk,
and
then after this year, just cut Deebo. I don't buy that for a second anymore. Deebo is the one you got a game plan for if you're a defense. Deebo, Christian, and George, not Brandon. Deebo is the unique one. Deebo's the clubhouse leader. Deebo's the boombox guy. Deebo's the sideline emotion. You watched the whole thing. You saw it. Deebo is that guy, and he is the one who game plans are made around, along with Christian and to a degree George, if you're Kyle Shanahan. I came out of there not buying for a second that they shopped him in the draft last year, not buying that they'll cut him at the end of this year. Brandon feels like a much more replaceable player based on his style. I think that weighs on all of this. And it's why I have a hard time believing the Niners will sign Brandon to any kind of an expensive extension, because that does mean other players have to leave. It's not about whether Brandon's worth it or he deserves it. It's about whether it fits with this group. I'm not like my read on Kyle, he not giving up Deebo.
All right. I get all that and some, but explain why 99 is not in care. Like, what's going on there? That should have been
You mean 71?
71, 99. 99
99's in.
I got a quick take on that, too.
Give it to me.
I don't think they want him there yet. He's 36 years old.
All right, that's what I told
Yeah, that's what I said last
week. But he's getting fined.
No, he's not.
He's not getting fined.
All right.
No.
He's not getting fined. They're not going to charge him a dime, and they don't want him until late August, early September. And
All right.
while he's not there, you give a lot of these other guys a chance to shine. And quietly, their offensive line is a little bit in shambles. They've got injuries across the board. So now you get a chance to really look at guys, and you see Puny who's come in and get a chance to look at him. And I know that a lot of the other starters have been out. So you have an O-line that is not going to be probably fully composed until you get into September.
Yeah.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. So it sounds to me like both of you guys are in lockstep in terms of the scenario you believe will play out, at least most likely. Trent gets his deal redone and is here eventually, and Aiyuk plays under the $14 million fifth year.
Most likely, or he caves and takes the extension that they reportedly offered him. If it's for less.
If it's still there.
If it's still there.
Right.
I don't know.
Man.
I don't know. Like it does not sound like they've come close to common ground. And that was kind of my takeaway on it is it's unfortunate for Brandon. He's such a great player. But I don't know if the scenario and the timing fit.
Or is he asking for Justin Jefferson money? That's the one piece I want to know. Because then I just side with the Niners like, hey, we love you, Brandon. You're damn good. But you ain't that. Right? Like, is he asking something?
Whatever he's asking for, they are far enough apart to where it's not close. And we all read into the bro hug and the handshake. Was that last week? You might have been gone, I guess. But
I watched it all.
Of course you did. But we
a deal Cowherd was like, it's coming hours away.
Well, he just wrote look out. But no, Dibs, you remember when Hoosh came on with us and said what would happen if the Niners offered Brandon the Amon-Ra deal? He goes,
he'd take it.
He'd have his helmet on.
Wow, man.
He'd have his helmet on. So I don't think he's asking.
Better than me.
Yeah, I don't think he's asking for Justin money. That would be absurd.
Okay, all right.
He doesn't deserve that.
I'm not saying I would do this, but if he's really PO'd, Brandon Aiyuk, would he give up $7 million and say, I'll just come in week 9. I'll get my year under my belt.
No way. How does that help him?
It doesn't.
Well, because it gets him to free agency still.
Not really.
Necessarily.
They could
I know
franchise
they
him.
can franchise him, but it's still he gets that year.
He gets the year, but it's like, how much money do you want to spend to try to make a little bit more money?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's like the guy that's got the rental on the market and you've got it priced too high. It's like you're losing money in order to make money. You could just lower it and just make the money right now.
Presumably, if the deal's still on the table, like there may not be a long-term deal on the table
Totally
for Brandon.
possible. Totally possible.
Stranger things have happened.
Give me this. They got a game this Saturday in Tennessee. Your left tackle's
Must
out.
win.
Aiyuk is doing what he's doing. Is this a distraction? What would you guys call this right now,
Not
today?
yet.
It's already been a distraction.
Because it's leading off all the shows.
It's been a story at the very least. It's been a storyline. Like, what are the big storylines in camp? Brock Purdy's a pick machine, and Aiyuk is holding in, and Trent's holding out. Yeah. There's your three headlines. So it's not a distraction yet, and I don't think it will be until you get closer to the regular season. But as far as like camp headlines, those are the three. Brock stinks. And Brandon's there in sweats, and Trent, who knows where he is.
And I don't care about Brock if you don't have your tackle and Aiyuk. Miss, when did we start grading in her? Curry in practice missed 23. That's when you miss them.
When do we start grading? Week 1. When the Jets are here. That's when you start grading.
This is out of control.
Yeah, we did this last year. And freaked out, and then he came out in Pittsburgh with one arm and absolutely crushed it, and they were averaging 30 points a game for 5 weeks. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to take out of practice if he's trying things, because there's also been moments where the reporters are like, "My God, he looks incredible," and then he'll throw 3 picks in 4 plays, and you're like, "Oh no." I don't know that it means anything.
It means nothing.
It doesn't mean anything.
We talked about it last week, and Shanahan came out and said offensively they don't game plan against the defense. They just run their plays. Like, these are the 15 plays we're going to run no matter what the defense presents. And the defense is doing kind of the same thing. So you break the huddle and you have a play called, and the defense has a defense called that is really bad for what you're going to call. You don't audible. You don't change it. You don't Omaha. You just run your play. Yeah. And if you're Brock Purdy, when you run the play, you make the throw. You're not thinking, oh, geez, I don't want to throw this pick. I'm going to check it down. So all of these practice stats to me mean absolutely
I hate
nothing.
Them, man. I really do.
Because the quarterback is trying that he wouldn't normally do in a game.
That's what you do in practice, Dibs.
Exactly. And the defense is also trying to, they're trying to jump routes and they're trying to make plays, and you can't really tackle guys, and so all this stuff is not real football.
I mean, some of these throws wouldn't even happen because he would have gotten sacked, but no one's allowed to touch him.
Exactly.
Right.
Good
you know
point.
what I mean? He might have taken off and run. I don't think it means anything.
Steiny and I were having fun about Trent Williams, and he could be like, he was alluding to, what if they think they could get better somewhere else? If leverage was a person, it's Trent Williams right now.
Yeah.
It has to be, just chill, big fella, watch the Netflix doc, whatever you do. We got you. There's nothing to see. I can't imagine everything that you are built on and what you want to accomplish, passing and throwing, goes through 71.
You would assume.
How much you need, big fella?
You would assume that.
You would assume.
Okay.
I don't think the 49ers, I think they are being governed by one thing and one thing only, and that is absolute intensity and urgency on this year. And they know that. And I don't think they're going to do anything to risk that.
Well, this goes against that, though, unless they're giving them a mini vacay.
Not yet. Not on August 5th, it doesn't. On August 5th, I don't think a 36-year-old, 320-pound man needs to be anywhere. I don't, especially someone who is as accomplished as him. That doesn't matter. If we're still having this conversation in 3 weeks, then I would have eyebrows up. The Aiyuk thing is different.
No doubt about it.
If Kyle gets to a point where he feels like Brandon is messing with the season or the situation, I don't want to put it all on Brandon, the situation is messing with the season in a negative way, then I think that's when you see the trigger potentially get pulled. They are not going to do anything to jeopardize this season.
Did you guys see, I think it was a couple days ago, Tim Kawakami of The Athletic suggested that Trent Williams and Aiyuk's leverage is increasing because they haven't looked good in practice. And if they go to Tennessee and look bad, with each poor performance, it becomes more and more obvious that they got to get both these guys in here.
I don't even, what does they've looked poor in practice mean? What does that mean?
4 or 5 picks.
Okay, then that means your defense looks great.
Well, who do we have on? Somebody made that point.
You know what I mean? Like, I think we...
Jennifer Lee Chan might have said something like that.
We watch a practice, and whichever side doesn't look good, we focus on that. That means the other side looks great. What if the offense looked amazing? Then couldn't you be like, what's wrong with our defense? I don't know. I don't know what to do with practice reports. Yeah. I think Trent already had as much leverage as he could have.
Oh, he's got all the leverage.
Yeah,
he's top 10 in the NFL's top 100.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the NFL top 100, and he.
By the way,
you rolled your eyes.
Of course, I rolled my.
Lamar Jackson was number one.
Tell me why you rolled your eyes.
I thought Tyreek Hill was
No, Tyreek Hill, but Lamar was the number one quarterback.
which
How?
is absurd. Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes is number 4 on that list.
because they let the players vote.
Fire everybody that compiled that list.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes is number one in the NFL.
It's the players who compiled the list.
And they don't
so
care.
we're going to fire
haterade.
Now we're going to go back to scab players
No, it's
again.
just
We're going to fire the
hater.
players.
They hate on the good guys.
Well, he's hating on the list, and so I'd like you to please
First
explain.
of all, players, I don't trust players' opinions of
They
other
voted
players.
hard in MVP a couple years back. Remember when
Steph
Curry got it?
wanted Avery Bradley.
It's also timing.
No, I would no.
Look at the names. Why are Lamar Jackson and Tyreek Hill number 1 and number 2? Well, what was going on when the vote was happening about 2/3 of the way through last year?
Oh, he was MVP.
Lamar was MVP.
Right.
Tyreek was on his way to 2,000 yards. So people went, whoa, Lamar and Tyreek.
But Mahomes.
Remember, but the Chiefs' offense were like,
Yeah. Oh, it was
what's wrong? What's wrong with
But
the
he
Chiefs'
had 2
offense?
Super Bowl rings already.
My only point is the only thing that matters is how Kyle and John Lynch assess Trent Williams' value. Like, that's the only thing that matters.
And how
I would
could we
bet that they have him higher than number 7 on the NFL's top 100. They probably have him
and
1
number
or 2.
1 in your spot.
Exactly.
Man.
Maybe.
He's everything, man.
Maybe.
I don't think it's a maybe. I think it's a definitely. And I think if you look at what they're trying to do offensively and watch any of their games, if it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, they run his way. And that's just what they do because he is the best offensive lineman in football. And so, yes, his import is bigger than even he is physically. And that's why he's going to get done. And if he wants to wait until late August to come in, then wait and come on in.
He is 36. He's been injured 2 years in a row. I am not only not concerned, I'm thankful that he's not there.
And he's still playing at a high level, man.
Nobody needs to be leaning on Trent Williams right now.
I get it.
And I'm not saying that's why, the Niners are over here playing chess, they've got an agreement already in place and they just don't want to announce it yet, although I wouldn't be shocked if that were true. But I just don't think, it's just like everything, deadline spur action, and we're nowhere near a deadline on that one. So
no, I'm not disagreeing with any of this. And I've told Guru, it's I'm sure that the 49ers have evaluate Trent Williams as more important than Brandon Aiyuk. But I found it interesting the answer that Kyle gave about the DeForest Buckner situation. It's not outside the realm of possibility that you start saying, well, how much could we drop off at this position, but maybe improve at other positions, and where does that leave us overall? And that's the stuff you have to look at if you've got decisions to make, and most of them aren't great ones. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean by Brandon can deserve it, and it can also be equally stupid for the Niners to give it to him. He can deserve it. He can be worth it. It doesn't mean because what we don't know, we just look at it and go, he's Brandon, he deserves it. Well, we don't know who the names are that leave if he gets it. Yeah. And a lot of us may change our opinion if you knew who was leaving if Brandon got that extension.
Yeah.
So do we celebrate if he gets it?
Right.
What if the list was in front of you? We're like, okay, Brandon got it. He got $29 million a year. Have fun with Charvarius Ward, Deebo Samuel, Trent Williams, and maybe Lenore.
Yeah.
Sorry, they're all gone. You still want that extension?
And I'm sure that's what's going on.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Every locker room. I watched too many documentaries on this trip. Did you watch Hard Knocks with the Giants?
I watched the Pete Rose doc.
This is exactly what goes on. It's why Saquon Barkley's an Eagle.
That phone call was incredible.
They're sitting there with a grid on their chalkboard, on their on their whiteboard, and they're sitting there going, well, we can do 11 million, but we can't do 12 because that means we lose.
But when
this,
they gave Daniel Jones that money, they were
that
done. Was their grave to me, man.
Boy,
no hate on Daniel.
If I were Daniel Jones, I would have hated this documentary. They sat there. They're like, if we can get up to 3 and take a quarterback, we'll do it. And none of the other teams are like, we don't want to do it.
He's got the money in the bank, though, Willard.
He's got the money. Yeah, he's got the money. Steiny, you look very European today.
It's just a golf shirt.
I know it is.
I got it.
But the print, it looks very like you look. You look like
you know what this shirt is.
You should have a British accent.
You know what this shirt is, don't you? You know the logo. You
Pine Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say you probably don't know the logo, you guys, because.
Well, do you know what Pine Valley means to me? This is going to relate to no one, but I think it was the fake place where the soap opera All My Children took place.
Correct.
Which is what my mom watched religiously when I was a kid.
Mine was younger than the rest
So
of us.
I was stuck. I was stuck in front of
Victor Newman.
Yeah, you know, this is back when you got one TV in the house and it's on All My Children.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to watch this. Well, then you better go outside.
And Steiny's just wearing the shirt for
I actually like the Big Valley.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
I did.
He's showing off.
I don't like
figured
Westerns.
it out.
What?
Div said you're showing off. That's why
It's
you
just
wear
a
the
flex.
shirt.
I mean, you're
Now he's
wearing
gonna
it just to
cover it
let
up.
the
Like,
people know
let the Divs know.
that
So
you
done wearing
played the
t-shirts.
number one golf course, the number one public course in the country.
I mean, I'm wearing
It's about a collared shirt.
I'm wearing an Aloha T-shirt. Like, you know, you got to let them know where you've been.
Did you
Let
have a
him
good
know.
time as
Okay,
the
go.
pictures look like? Oh, you didn't. You can't.
No, I'm messing.
Will had a great time.
Well, how can you mess up Hawaii?
No, Hawaii.
Okay, yeah. Hey, Steiny, where are we back to today?
I'll tell you what, we're back to the home. We're back home at 95.7 The Game.